sometimes we look at something and we have to let it settle for a while before we
Mm.
come back to it and find out why we had to leave it in the first place.
Yeah.
Sort of left us a little bit perplexed. Yeah. Um, this this what I'm about to tell you came out of the Daily Mail, not exactly the fountain of pure truth. And to make it worse, to compound the thing, they got it
Yeah.
from the Sun. They got it from the Sun.
Well, okay.
But hey, I couldn't find it in any other publications, which in
Mm.
itself made my ears prickle.
Mm.
So the US president's former security advisor claims that Iran could have gotten a nuclear bomb in its hands 3 days before the American bombardment of that country. The scheme looks like a script from eBay, from off of eBay.
Well,
Well, so as it goes, Iran would buy an atomic missile good to go from North Korea.
mm.
This is what was said.
Yeah.
All they would have to do is wire the funds through. All the Iran need to do is just wire the funds through.
Right.
Then North Korea would send the missile to Russia. Now you have to include Russia in these theories, because anything cloak and dagger,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Russia's always involved, right?
Well, yeah, yeah. Len Dayton, who unfortunately died this week, but yeah, that kind of novel thing. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
well, uh, they have to. North Korea has to take it to Russia because Russia is friends with both Iran and North Korea.
Mm.
So instead of flying the missile directly from North Korea to Iran, they could fly them to Russia, and from there, Putin would take up the slack
Mm.
and get them to Iran.
Make it sound like he's a fence.
Well, it's almost like a courier service
That's what I
from
mean. Yeah. 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 But yeah.
Now, suffice to say, to keep the edge on things, this ex-security advisor says that even now, Iran, North Korea, and Russia could do this. It could all be done, dusted, signed, sealed, delivered, and any other cliche out there that I can't think of right away,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, um, within 72 hours, within a
Mm.
72 hours time frame.
Probably. Yeah.
So I wonder if that would be British time because the UK clock seems to have been running a little slow lately.
Deployment of anything. Yes, I know.
That's just a little dig there. Now all of this leaves me with two questions.
Yeah.
Well, actually, quite a lot of questions. If it could be all done in 72 hours and it were that easy, why hasn't it been done already?
Mm.
Why,
Yeah.
you know? And the second question I have, after finding out that the US presidential former security advisor is none other than John Bolton.
Ah.
I just wonder if on the back of this story he's got a book coming out or a piece for some, or something is doing something that needs publicity.
Yeah. Well.
But
Yeah.
the whole story, this is what John Bolton said,
Mm.
that Iran can have this nuclear missile within 72 hours.
Yeah.
He could have done it beforehand. He can still do it now.
Mm.
Um, but I ask myself, if it's so easy to do, why haven't they already done it? Why did they go to all the expense for their underground bunkers and the enrichment of uranium?
Mm.
So I'll leave that little hot potato in your hands, that little pineapple,
Yeah. Join up the
for you
dots.
to try and make some sense of it. To me, it just doesn't make sense.
No, I know what you're thinking. Yes. I mean, with regards to atomic theory, you could go online and look it up. Yeah. You could go to a museum, but even in Recife, we've got an atomic energy museum by the UFP, by the Federal University of Pernambuco. Yeah, I've been to it. Interesting place. Um, so yeah, understanding how nuclear reactions work. I wouldn't say it's not difficult. Of course, it's difficult, but yeah, there's a big leap between the theory and actually achieving it for different things. Yeah. If it was that easy, every country in the world would have it by now. Um, now,
What I'm trying to get at, Mark, is that
yeah, yeah,
if getting the missile from North Korea was
yeah.
that easy, why would they go
That,
through the rigmarole of
that's the point.
doing something?
That's the
It's not
point.
easy.
That's the point I'm getting to now. Um, if North Korea have already developed it, and I'm not sure if they have or haven't, um, and Iran haven't quite achieved it yet, um, it could be the opportunity for North Korea to make a few quid, um, and yeah, ship it in. Obviously, it would be Russia have probably got the resources to actually get it to Iran more so than Iran and North Korea. I'm saying if it has happened, I, I agree with you. I don't think they'd have waited 72 hours or whenever. I think if they could do it, they're crazy enough to have done it by now. Or I'm going to put the other scenario. It's already ended up in Russia and not been dispatched yet because the Russians don't really want it to happen. Yep. Um, I'm only throwing another scenario. I don't know. Um, it's it's an interesting theory. It's like you say. Now going back to the sources, the Sun newspaper and the Daily Mail. Um, we joke about them, but they do have some journalistic integrity about them. Even the Sun, we call it a comic, but when it reports something, it still can be held accountable for the
Yes, yes.
information in it.
All of this I understand.
Yeah.
What what I'm trying to get at, the
Mm.
crux of the matter is
Yeah.
that if at any time Iran could
Could
get within 72 hours a nuclear missile from
Yeah.
North Korea,
Wouldn't
it
they have
would have
done it?
done so by now.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And it isn't that North Korea has just developed a nuclear missile this
Yeah.
this last
Yeah.
last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
They've had their nuclear arsenal for quite a long time,
Mm. Yeah.
and I'm not sure if North Korea is openly willing to flog off some
That
of its missiles.
I I would suggest that certainly people around their leader would be saying to him, yeah, we don't really want to give them up because there are good there are our insurance policy. Yeah, I mean there is a notion if you have nuclear weapons you are respected. Yeah, if you've got the ability to hit back. Um, I think there is I'm going to be quite honest. Even if it's probably possible. Like you say, why aren't they in Iran already? Or there is a realization that whereas Russia is actually quite stable, we got to remember what else is happening in the world. Russia has a realization what a nuclear conflict is all about and doesn't actually want one, despite having the biggest nuclear arsenal in the world. Um, maybe North Korea are actually quite pragmatic about the world as well. They're not religious or complete maniacs who particularly want to go and meet their makers. Yeah. Yeah. Um, whereas the leadership of Iran don't care if they live or die, in essence. Yeah. It might sound, yeah. And I think there is a realization with their partners that this is what they're all about as well. Like I said, would Russia want to be getting its hands dirty with anything like that? Yeah. I'm looking at more global view.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, I don't know why Russia. Look, we're talking about a theory here.
yeah.
We're not talking about something that's being done,
Yeah.
right? And I just don't see how the theory is holding together. Why involve Russia in this theory?
Well, that's the point I'm making. Why? I mean, okay, but as I said, the only reason I could see that is that Russia, more than North Korea, would possibly have the ability to get a nuclear device or anything from North Korea and get it to Iran, however that
No,
happened.
no, no. The theory is that North Korea would deliver it to Russia and Russia would
Yeah,
deliver it to Iran.
yeah.
So, I mean, instead of flying the plane to Russia, you could fly the plane directly to Iran and
Well,
it's done.
that would be more easier, yeah, given given
So,
geographical
which is why,
location.
which is what I'm trying to get at with
Oh,
this theory.
okay, yeah, yeah,
Like this theory is why involve Russia in this theory when there's no
yeah,
need to.
yeah, yeah. I was just thinking more logistics. Russia would probably be able to transport it, have the capability to transport it more than possibly North Korea or Iran would be. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, we're not. Yeah, I mean, that's it. I'm trying to find a reason why this theory is being muted. Um, you would hope that people in who have been worked in senior positions in administration aren't complete idiots and just shoot off their mouths without some receipt somewhere.
Well,
Yeah.
we are talking about John Bolton here.
Well, agreed, but he didn't get to where he is by being an idiot. Um, he might be speculating something. Yes, he's a bit of a hawk. He will say, "Mr. President, this could be a possibility, or that could be a possibility." And as an advisor, um, you give the administrations advice on what you believe, yeah, or what you think, um, and then you give scenarios of how it could be true or anything else. It's game planning. It's sorry, you're gaming at that point, yeah.
Yeah.
It's putting a scenario. It's what we used to call brainstorming, whiteboard
Yeah, of
brainstorming.
course. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, I understand that.
yeah. Um, yeah, this could be a possibility. That could be a possibility. Well, how would we know that? Have we got any intelligence on the ground that says it? I don't know. We don't know. We're not going to be party to that. Um,
Unless John Bolton has got some super really important information that
exactly. Yeah.
nobody else has,
Mm,
because he would be able to answer. If they could do that in 72 hours, why haven't they done it already? They've had
mm.
40 years to do it, right? Uh, you know, and also if they can do it afterwards as well, then if it makes it almost seem like it's like so simple to do.
Mm.
And I don't know if Bolton, the angle of Bolton is trying to keep American pressure on Iran to stay there, to do another Iraq,
Yeah. Yeah.
because I know that John Bolton loves a war.
Well, yeah. Yeah, he is.
But I'm sure that somebody must have asked him, if they could have done it in 72 hours, why haven't they done it already? Why go to all the expense of getting centrifuges built and
Yeah, I
dug
know.
underground and if it's just a case of shelling out a few quid for a missile and 72 hours later you got it, you know.
Yeah, well, that's it. They're not that easy to transport around the world. And that's the other point I'm making. Well, you probably
Well,
have to involve Russia.
that doesn't matter, Mark. That's just a mere detail.
Yeah.
If it's difficult to transport or not. I mean, the thing is that if it can be done in 72 hours, then why aren't all the missiles in a silo somewhere in Iran?
Oh, no, I know I know what you're saying. I'm trying to, um, if you like, go at the other side of it rather than dismiss it. Think of scenarios around it. This is an intellectual exercise like that would be game planned. Um, it's a um, yes, it's a strange one. It's like you said, it appeared in the Daily Mail. It's a sensational story. The problem is sometimes dismissing these things, given when you do look at things happened in the past, yeah, and people sometimes say, "Oh no, that could never happen," and it did, yeah. Um, Sometimes you have to listen to these things. I'm almost certain that Donald Trump, being Donald Trump, would love a good justification to do what he's done as well. Whether you agree or disagree what he's done, to either justify or reinforce what he's done, I think
Yeah.
Donald Trump wouldn't have been backward at, at saying this information if the American administration knew it to be true, unless they're hiding assets, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, we're playing very well to um, the U.S. administration's strategy for Iran or reasoning why it's done what it's done. I couldn't think of a better scenario. Well, we were 72 hours away from mutually agreed destruction at some point. Yeah. But like I said, that's probably where, if you did involve the Russians, again, um, okay, North Korea probably closer to um, Iran geographically and possibly in other things than Russia are.
So
Um,
why take a missile from North Korea to Russia and then from Russia to Iran?
yeah, it
It
doesn't make
just
any sense. Yeah,
it doesn't make sense, does it?
well, it increases the risk of a discovery and the risk of something going wrong, apart from anything else. Yeah.
Mm.
Um, I mean, with the Cuban Missile Crisis, I know it's in the 1960s. Yeah, they just happened to have a plane. Well, I think it was a spy plane. They saw some long tubes on a ship that don't look like no old pipes to me. Yeah. Um, yeah, that's how they discovered it. This is the other thing now. Yeah, every country knows what everything is, everyone else is doing now. There's probably not a plane that can take off from North Korea or Russia or somewhere else that the Americans don't know about, and
Of
vice
course.
versa. China is watching everything and will tell its friends in the world information it probably feels that it would be to their benefit to tell them. Yeah, the way that China operates. Yeah. Um, that's it. So I heard I think I heard an American person speaking. He says, why aren't you more secret about what you're doing in, going on and building up forces? He says, don't think that the Chinese haven't already told the Iranians what's going on. Yeah. So yeah, it's very difficult to move stuff about. As I said, the only people I could imagine doing it would be the Russians. But why you take it to, I agree if you take it to Russia first and move it across, makes no sense at all. Um, but unless there's something else involved that you take it, the North Koreans may not have total ability to prepare it for what the Iranians would need, whereas the Russians might. But why then don't you put personnel from Russia in North Korea to prep it there? Yeah. I'm trying to think of reasons why you would do what you do. Yeah. Without dismissing it.
That's why I left the story for a few days,
Yeah.
and I left it to mull
Yeah.
over and then to come back to it and then try and make sense of it again.
Yeah. Uh,
And I couldn't. And that's why I brought it to the table.
hmm,
But there you go. And
well,
neither can we.